Finally, after 1 month of waiting, the latest Boruto manga chapter is released. But before starting to the video, we will have a little flashback in the previous episode. In Chapter 6 yesterday, Boruto managed to meet with Sarada and Samire in Konoha village using the Hiraishin technique. He told them both about his intention of coming to Konoha village. Boruto wanted to tell Sarada that his father had been eaten by Jubi. But when Boruto was talking to Sarada and Samire, suddenly Boruto was immediately contacted by Shikamaru using Ino's synthesis ability. Shikamaru told Boruto that their conversation was a very illegal act, because Shikamaru wanted Ida not to know the contents of their conversation. But so that Boruto can trust Shikamaru, he tells Boruto that Mitsuki is currently heading to Boruto's place. And moments after that, Mitsuki immediately wrapped around Boruto's body with his big snake. But Boruto managed to avoid Mitsuki's attack, and he went away from Mitsuki and said goodbye to Sarada and Samire. But before that, Boruto promised Sarada that he would save Sasuke and everyone trapped inside the Jubi tree. He also said that he would return again to Konoha village. Then when Boruto flew away from Mitsuki, it turns out that Mitsuki managed to follow where Boruto went using his little snake. This is where the story ends, guys. And the story continues with Mitsuki, who recalls the previous incident when he was together with Kawaki. Mitsuki said in his heart, "At that time I was the moon floating in the darkness. I can't emit my own light. That's why I need you, Kawaki." Mitsuki was seen behind Kawaki at that time. Then she continued the words in her heart. "As long as you as the sun continue to shine on me, I will also be able to emit my own light as the moon. And with that light, I will be able to dispel the darkness. I can feel the meaning of life. Living here, being here for the first time. I think this is right, Kawaki." Mitsuki talked about the need for the moon to have the sun in order to have the meaning of life. Without the sun, the moon is unable to shine. And that means the moon has no real function. It illuminates the night because the sun shines on it from the other side of the world during the day. Then the scene returned to Boruto and Mitsuki, who were facing each other. Mitsuki immediately ran towards Boruto while activating his Sage mode. But before Mitsuki was really close to Boruto, Boruto immediately threw 2 shuriken at Mitsuki. But Mitsuki managed to block the 2 shuriken that were thrown at him with 2 large snakes that came from his Sage mode chakra. The 2 shuriken bounced off and one of them stuck in a tree branch. Mitsuki immediately lunged at Boruto with his 3 chakra snakes. Then Boruto jumped back to avoid one hit by Mitsuki's snake. But the other 2 snakes continued to attack Boruto's body. But quickly Boruto managed to avoid the 2 snakes and the rest. But the 3 snakes continued to attack Boruto. But Boruto again managed to dodge with his Hiraishin technique. And this time Boruto utilized the shuriken on the tree branch. It turns out that Boruto not only attaches the Hiraishin seal to his sword, it looks like all the ninja tools used by Boruto are equipped with the Hiraishin seal mark. Mitsuki, who saw Boruto suddenly change places behind his body, was immediately surprised. Boruto, who was hanging on the tree, said, "What happened to Kawaki? I thought he was supposed to be able to chase me because he could sense my existence." Mitsuki said, "Isn't that not important now? I'm your opponent now." Shikamaru, who was still connected with Shintinshin no Jutsu, said to Boruto, "Kawaki seems to be asleep. Mitsuki has poisoned her with one of his snakes. He doesn't seem to want Kawaki to find the location of your existence with the power of iits'Nime that he has. That is the report that Mitsuki had given me. He must be currently acting on his own accord." Hearing the information from Shikamaru, Boruto began to understand what the real reason was. Mitsuki did not let Kawaki come with him to track Boruto. After that, Mitsuki said, "I think I can understand your true strength. You can handle code alone. That means you are on an abnormal level. I don't think Kawaki currently stands a chance against you. I can't let him be killed, even if it means sacrificing my own life." Boruto said, "Give up, Mitsuki. That means you're just like Code. You're no match for me. A fight like this is meaningless." Mitsuki said, "There's another reason why I left Kawaki. It's because I can give my all here." Actually, here Mitsuki shows Boruto that he doesn't really fight seriously. Because the fact is that Mitsuki can still stop in the middle of his fight to talk to Boruto. Then Boruto said, "What do you mean by saying that?" Mitsuki immediately attacked Boruto again. He pulled out quite a lot of snakes from both hands. With that many snakes, he was able to make the snakes into clones of himself. His clones are not ordinary clones, because each of his clones has a Sage mode chakra snake. Each clone releases snakes with very large chakra. And the snake was directed at Boruto, who was hanging on the tree. The trees around Boruto were immediately destroyed. Boruto, who saw the impact of Mitsuki's attack, immediately said, "Increasing the scale of your attack is not necessarily a wise choice. The fact is that the things you do are very bad for the environment around you, and have no bad impact on me at all. Mitsuki said, "It's not all your fault. Hurry up and die from this world." Boruto continued to dodge Mitsuki's attacks while saying, "You may be right, but even so, I can't just give up. There are still many things I have to do before disappearing from this world." Therefore, Boruto, who did not continue his words anymore, suddenly began to make movements. Now his body that had retreated backwards because it had time to avoid Mitsuki's attack now takes a position to fly towards Mitsuki's clones. He immediately held his sword and concentrated his chakra to produce lightning elements that flowed directly into his Kusanagi sword. Then Boruto immediately swung his sword at all of Mitsuki's Kagebunsen. And because of that, not a single Kagebunsen could avoid Boruto's attack. Boruto managed to eliminate all of Mitsuki's clones with a few moves of his sword. But seeing his shadow clones being eliminated so easily, the real Mitsuki immediately prepared to use a hand seal while saying, "What kind of movement is that? You really are a monster." Boruto immediately put the Kusanagi sword into its sheath, and he prepared to activate the jutsu in his hand as well. And at the same time, Mitsuki immediately pulled out his signature technique, namely Heibimikasuchi, while Boruto immediately blocked Mitsuki's attack with his signature jutsu as well. And at the same time, suddenly a collision of their two jutsu produced a very powerful explosion. The explosion made Mitsuki's view filled with smoke. He couldn't see where Boruto was at that time. And suddenly, Boruto was right in front of Mitsuki's eyes. Boruto immediately swung the sword in the sheath, and the sword immediately almost cut Mitsuki's neck. Mitsuki, who knew that he was currently losing to Boruto, immediately deactivated his Sage mode. And he said, "Let's do it. Why did you stop?" But Boruto retorted, "This is more of an impulsive and reckless act of desperation than the determination to come and kill yourself with the intention of dying for someone." Then Mitsuki said, "What do you mean?" Then Boruto replied to Mitsuki's words, "Your faith is crumbling. What you believe in. No, what you believe in. You feel that it no longer contains the truth." Mitsuki, with a sardonic look, said, "What exactly are you talking about?" Then Boruto said, "Kawaki, when your sun lost its light, didn't you already realize that?" Then at the same time, Shikamaru immediately said to Ino, "Ino, can you expand your range so that I can hear Mitsuki's voice? I want to confirm the contents of their conversation." Ino replied, "Don't act rashly, Shikamaru. It will allow them to hear our conversation too. You don't want to risk it, do you?" Then we are back again with Mitsuki and Boruto, who are currently talking to each other. Mitsuki said, "How could you know about all this, Boruto? You are the one who betrayed the village. You don't have to pretend like you know me so well." Boruto immediately put his sword back in its sheath. Mitsuki looked calmer than before. Boruto said, "But at least I know where your son is right now." Then Mitsuki said, "What?" Boruto replied, "I am your son, no one can replace my position." But Mitsuki looked very annoyed with Boruto's words, which seemed to be playing with him. He immediately took out a large snake from his hand and immediately wrapped it around Boruto's body, but with very high confidence. Boruto did not avoid the snake's coils from Mitsuki, and he still let the snake attack his body. But the one who looks doubtful here is not Boruto, but Mitsuki himself, who doubts his actions to Boruto. He also said, "It's impossible. You are my son. Why can you say that?" Boruto replied, "If not me, then what's wrong with your snake? Why didn't it attack me?" Mitsuki said, "Why didn't you try to avoid my snake's coils? You should have many ways to avoid my snake's coils like you did before." With a very sharp and convincing look, Boruto said, "You should have realized it from the beginning. Actually, you have known for a long time that Kawaki is not your son. No matter how often you stay by his side, no matter how much you hope that Kawaki can be the sun that gives his light to you, the fact is that until now he can't make you shine any more right." While bowing down weakly, Mitsuki said, "I can't believe you." Boruto's eyes are still as sharp as before. He also said, "If you are confused, it is a very natural thing. But of all the people in this world, you are the one who can understand it better. The only one who can judge who your son really is not yourself, Mitsuki." After hearing the words of Boruto, Mitsuki slowly began to pull back his big snake that was wrapped around Boruto, as if he began to believe what Boruto said to him. Then Mitsuki said, "Actually, what is your intention?" Boruto said, "Take it easy, I had no intention of killing Kawaki. It was just a misunderstanding. But this problem needs to be solved immediately. This is a problem for both of us as brothers. It's a problem that we have to deal with alone." Then Mitsuki started asking Boruto again, Why did you kill the 7th Hokage?" Then Boruto explained that the 7th Hokage is still alive. He's in a safe state right now. "Mom, oh no, I mean his wife is also fine. That's all I can tell you right now." Hearing all of Boruto's words, Mitsuki looks more relieved now. Then Mitsuki said again to confirm the doubts that were in his mind. He said, "Boruto, who are you really? Boruto said, "Mitsuki, you have always been able to shine yourself from the beginning. I firmly believe in that. But if you remain stubborn that you need the sun whatever happens." While smiling at Mitsuki, Boruto said, "Come see me anytime." Instantly, Mitsuki's face immediately looked calmer than before. The scene immediately showed Ino, who was confused after hearing Boruto and Mitsuki's conversation. Ino said in her heart what exactly had happened so far. Naruto is still alive. How come? Shikamaru said to Boruto. Immediately approach Konoha village. Boruto, we need to talk further. Then the scene switches to Kawaki, who suddenly staggers in Ida's apartment. Apparently Ida did not help Kawaki, but Kawaki himself came to Ida after he regained consciousness. Then Ida immediately continued and said, "Kawaki?" Then Kawaki replied, "Mitsuki the goldfish shit, where did he go?" Kawaki asked Ida to track Mitsuki's current whereabouts. There are two possibilities that could have happened. The first possibility, Kawaki tracked Mitsuki to find out if Mitsuki managed to kill Boruto. Or the second possibility, Kawaki wanted to teach Mitsuki a lesson for what he had done to Kawaki. And there is actually a third possibility. Kawaki could have chased Boruto after that. Kawaki should be furious at Mitsuki because Mitsuki had poisoned Kawaki and made Kawaki lose the opportunity to kill Boruto. And what's more, even though Mitsuki managed to paralyze Kawaki, Mitsuki even went home empty-handed. This will definitely make Kawaki very upset and act harshly on Mitsuki. Maybe Kawaki will beat Mitsuki and teach him a lesson so that he doesn't bother him again. Well, after receiving a blow from Kawaki, Mitsuki will realize even more that what Boruto said before is true. Boruto is Mitsuki's true son. After that, maybe Team 7 will rejoin for the same goal. The scene immediately switched to Shikamaru. Shikamaru said, "You mean because of Xeno Ida our memories were rewritten again? And all this was caused by Kawaki's deepest desire?" Boruto said, "Yes, you are right. Before that, I want you to know first. I actually don't care about the Xeno that happened to switch my position with Kawaki. Because whatever happens, in the end you will forget about it." Shikamaru said, "What?" Boruto continued his words. "What really happened was that this was not the first time you heard an explanation about this. Sarada and Samaire have already explained it to you, but you always ignore their explanations." Shikamaru said, "What do you mean?" Boruto said, "The concept of omnipotence will always be in your memory, and it will never fail to influence everyone's actions. You're bound to forget everything in time. That is exactly the kind of ability that Xeno has. The fact that Kawaki and I have been switched, you have to believe it without any basis or logic, so that you can continue to be aware that your memories are incompatible. You managed to reach the conclusion on your own. That is not something that most people can achieve. That is quite impressive." Shikamaru said, "How to fix it?" Boruto said, "We can't fix it. All the memories that were overwritten are now considered real. And even if we change it back, it won't solve the problem that happened between me and Kawaki. He sealed the 7th Hokage to protect him, meaning that until he is satisfied, he will not let my father out. No matter how you look at his actions, we will only repeat the same pattern." Shikamaru said, "Instead of saving Naruto, it is better to prioritize the goal of killing Kawaki. If I were you, that's what I would do right now." Boruto said, "He would indeed kill me, but I'm different from him. I'll give him a blow and make him realize. After that, we will be able to be together again like before. That's all I want to do right now." Shikamaru said, "I understand how you feel. But Boruto, if you did not intend to kill Kawaki, then you will be held accountable for killing the 7th Hokage. And from the information you gave me earlier that Kawaki was the one who caused Xeno Ida to activate, I want to avoid things that could corner him again in any way. Then that means we cannot help you to uncover any information about what Kawaki has done so far. And that means you will continue to be a hunted person. Are you really okay with that?" Boruto said, "It's fine with me. I intended it that way from the beginning." Then after that, the scene switched to the Shinju dimension. Juro was seen reading a lot of books. It seems that it is a book about the history of shinobi and all the powers that exist in the shinobi world. Juro is studying it to immediately understand how planet Earth can run so far. Juro also said, "It's a strange thing, isn't it? This world, the more knowledge increases, the more new doubts arise. The number of things we don't understand increases. Maybe you didn't realize it all this time. These words are words that make perfect sense to our real life. And indeed, these words are always used in some very deep knowledge books. They're explained that knowledge actually makes us aware of our own ignorance. And it is very interesting." Then Juro said again, "Actually, I've realized it. But in all the books here, there doesn't seem to be an answer to my question. Should I go see Uzumaki Naruto?" This is a rhetorical thought. Rhetorical is an interrogative sentence that does not require an answer. The sudden turn of events in search of answers that lay dormant in the sealed target, Shinju Juro began to move or act. And that was the final part of the Boruto manga chapter 7, guys. Thank you very much for those of you who have watched this video. Please like and subscribe so that I am even more enthusiastic about creating this content. Next, we will continue the continuation of the story of Jura who wants to meet Naruto. What do you think will happen there? Please write your opinion under the comment column. See you again in the next video. And I'm bye-bye.